Welcome to Wine Library TV. I am your host, Gary Vaynerchuk, and this, my friends, is The Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program, and the big ass glasses here. And I know you saw the title, and I know you got the email. If you're ever gonna watch an episode of Wine Library TV, this is the one I want you to watch. And that is because I have an enormous announcement today to the Vayner Nation, and that is that I'm going to be keynoting at the Boston Wine Expo. So Mott, link that up. I will be at the Boston Wine Expo in a couple weeks. I hope I see you, all of you Boston peeps. But obviously, you know I'm joking because that is a very big announcement, but it is not the huge announcement. The huge announcement is that Lizzie and I are pregnant. Mott, we're bringing a baby into the world. The Vayniacs have been waiting a long time. I get emails about this constantly. So Lizzie and I are expecting due date May 31st. So I've been sitting on this secret for a while. As a matter of fact, finding out the sex in a couple of days, Motster. So we're going to go boy or girl. This is obviously a very emotional announcement for me because I feel like all of you guys are such a big part of my family and I've been holding this secret, so I've been excited. And Liz has been yelling at me. She's like, why haven't you announced it? We've kind of had the green light for about a month or so now, and I don't know, I'm excited about it, Mott. It's a big deal. My world's about to change, and nothing other than for the better, because as a lot of you guys know, I'm a big family man, and this is, you know, huge to start my own. So very excited, very emotional about it. It's a big deal, and either a Jets cheerleader or the future starting quarterback, because you can see the genetics, I mean, let's be honest, of the New York Jets is on the way. Probably more likely the future owner. All right. So big news. I'm glad you got to see that. If you're back for the first time in a long time, because I emailed everybody who's ever watched this show because I wanted them to all see this, I hope that you do continue to stick around and watch this episode. But if not, thank you so much for watching Wine Library TV ever in your life, and thank you for sharing this moment with me. I really wanted you to, and but I really think you should stay. Because today we are talking about value-driven wines. 2009, the economy, everybody's crying. These are tears. Crying about, you know, silliness of, like, you know, it's a depression, please. But, you know, that being said, it is definitely much tougher times, high unemployment rate, but people still want to drink wine, not the pound. Everyone's like, oh, business must be good, right? People aren't buying $80 Barolos when the market is down, but people are constantly looking for value, and more importantly than the economic, you want to turn it down? The economic downturn is that there's so much value out there. See, the fundamental interesting thing to me about the wine industry is that you pay for the brand and for the rating and for so many other secondary aspects to the business than the actual grapes in the bottle. And to me, that is ultra fascinating in all aspects of business, but imperatively in one that I spend my whole life in, the wine business. See, you pay for brand, and because of that, it opens up a lot of opportunities. For example, we've got a wine here today, Mott, that is a Taraldago from Tuscany. We'll get into that. Wild stuff. I guarantee the far majority of you have never had a Taraldago. So, let's start with the first wine. Let's see if we get a little value out of this. This is the Chateau Saint Jean, 2005, Plan de Deux, Côte de Rhone Village, 2005. This wine rolls in at $15 US, 80% Grenache, 20% Syrah, a little Côte de Rhone action. Côte de Rhones are very good values. They're starting to get a little pricier. I mean, 15 bucks is not inexpensive for a Côte de Rhone. It's actually more on the premium side, but a lot of buzz about this wine. I just came back from Vegas, looked at weekend's numbers, a lot of return business on this wine, so I said, doing value? Let me see if I can do a Côte de Rhone. Haven't had this. Great producer. They make a great Chateauneuf de Pape. Let's see what this little 05 Côte de Rhone's got. Now, we brought out the big-ass glass because this is a big-ass day, Mott. Big-ass glass. You can see great color through here. Mott, why don't you zoom in a little bit? Let's fool around a little bit. Let's give the Maniac some new angles. So you can see some really nice color there coming through. Really dark red colors coming through. Let's give it a sniffy sniff, because that's what we do. I get a little mocha chocolate right off the bat on those, which is quite interesting. Get a little bit of like red fruit, like a red Twizzler kind of component, which I like quite a bit. Really nice and solid nose. Again, a little earthiness, but not too much. Good fruit. Some peeps rolling by. It's a little floral action as well. Let's give it a whirl. why Rhone continues to rock. This is a massively impressive Côte de Rhone to start today's show. And it's not because I'm so giddy in a good mood, because I've known for a little while, but of course I'm happy to share it with you. This has tremendous texture on the mid-palate and the finish, and really even on the attack. This is loaded. You know what? I'm actually curious what you think about this. Again, not a big red wine drinker, so big tannins, big wine, big fruit.
I have a cold, so let me get another glass.
Yeah, don't get me sick. Great red fruit, raspberries. You also get a little bit of an interesting leather component and a beefiness that I enjoy. Almost like a little bit of a beef jerky, maybe a slow roasted rib. Really good fruit, great strawberries on the back end, and good, firm, real Hardy Man's truck driving tannins on the back end that show that this wine can last for 3 or 4 years, maybe even 7, where a lot of times people think Côte de Rhones fall apart very young. Mott? You don't like it?
No.
Is it too bitter?
It's something on the, I don't know if it's my
hot?
cold or, no, it's not the hot. It's just I don't know if it's my cold or what, but something on the finish I don't like.
To me, understood. To me, the hot raspberry jam and the violets on the back end, that combo is so pretty and so conducive to the Rhone region. Really reminds me of like a $30, $40 high-end single vineyard Vaccaras or Gigondas more than it does a Côte de Rhone. This is very premium stuff. I'm really kind of taken aback by this because I was able to try their Chateauneuf de Pape, and I'm not sure how far off this is from the $30 Chateauneuf de Pape. I mean, this is really substantially solid Rhone, Côte de Rhone wine, and I think it's a very good play at 15 bones. So much so, I'm going to score this wine 90 points. I think this is a spectacular effort with tremendous complexity, great fruit, and enormous depth, and has a second-tier game. You know, that kind of gamey / meaty finish that I love so much. That slow roasted rib there that I think is so spectacular. Max that out with the strawberries and the raspberry jam, and you've got a really fine bottle of wine. This would go tremendously with food. I would really pair this with a variety of foods. You know, not the least of which would be burgers and hot dogs at $15 on a Tuesday night. Pop, drink, enjoy with your family. And I think this is a major home run. Great start to the show. And I'm excited. Nice. Let's move on. Let's give it a little rinse. And let's see what this little wine from Argentina brings to the Thunder Show. Let's look at it. The Don Nicanor 2006 blend. Cabernet, Malbec, and Merlot blend. It is a 34% Cabernet, 33% Malbec, 33% Merlot, 89 points J. Miller, $13 US. And I'm awfully excited about this wine as well. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. Good dark fruit coming across right off the bat. I get a little bit of a really rich strawberry on the nose. Good color again on this wine. This also has a very velvety as well. Very similar. It has a, you know, very different but very similar, where this was a little bit more refined and creamy on the nose. This has a very intense rose petal and ripe red fruit component as well. I also do get now on the tail end a blueberry jam pie thing going on the back end that I think is quite interesting. Let's give it a whirl. Right before I tasted it, very neat kind of like magic marker flavor kicked in on the nose and the palate. Do you remember like the old magic markers in art class that really did taste like fruit? They're not your typical magic markers. I don't know what they were, Mott. Do you remember what I'm talking about? They're really wild. They really smelled like candy. Maybe you didn't have them when you were in school.
Yeah, no. They had remember the ones, it was a white box and it was like a smiley face and his mouth was open?
No, we didn't have those. Okay. They were gone. Anyway, really big fruit. Yep. really big fruit, that magic marker thing, but this wine is extremely fakey fake. Very awkward, very thin on the body. I'll give it one more shot. Very manufactured. It feels like this was made in an assembly line. Like Henry Ford would be happy about this wine. This is a Henry Ford wine. Pretty anti-Semitic guy. Yeah, I really don't like this wine. Completely disjointed, awkward flavors. Tannins are high on the back end. Completely lacking any grace. Lacking any grace or any real flow to this wine. It's just a bunch of pieces. And you can put together a bunch of star athletes, but not put together a good football team. Kind of like the Redskins try to do each year, Mott, right? Snyder over there is trying to do that action. You know, Yankees too, by the way, for almost a decade now. Now they just decided to buy everybody. We'll see what happens there. Probably won't win. Save this episode for November. Yeah, I hate this wine. I think Jay Miller is smoking absolutely tremendous chronic when he scored this wine 89 points. I think this wine is far, far lower. I'm going to go 79 points in this wine, give it a major pass. This is pretty much what I don't like about the wine industry, when you get this fake kind of, you know, manufactured wine that I feel that I can replicate in Uganda. You know, I mean, you just can do it anywhere. So let's move on. Finally, the most interesting wine, and the one I want to kind of do a little more education on. This is a very small producer, Poggio al Cazone. This is the La Cutara 2006. This wine is from Tuscany, but ironically is 90% Taraldigo and 10% Syrah. He also did something very interesting. Zoom in right here. 90 points. Wine Spectator. Thought that was kind of interesting that they were able to label after the review came out. 13 bones from Tuscany. Now, Taraldigo really is a very interesting grape varietal. First started being noticed in the early 1800s. Recently has been clearly diagnosed DNA-wise to be a cousin of Syrah, so it's ironic that they're blending with 10% Syrah. And it's almost completely grown in the Trentino Alto Adige area of Italy, but it's making an appearance here in Tuscany. So I find that quite fascinating. It also has a descendant DNA to and acts like Lagrein a little bit. We did an episode on Lagrein. Mott, link that up. You're going to forget that one, so I better remember right after here. So, you know, kind of has a little bit of that kind of action going on, but it is a grape varietal which I have absolutely been a huge fan of through the years. Granato comes to mind as a producer that I've really liked and been a fan of, and I'm excited about trying this wine. 90 points Wine Spectator, 13 bucks. Taraldigo grape varietal, which a crapload, the majority of you have never tried, and it's in a place where it doesn't normally do its thing. So very neat wine, well priced, just the absolute epitome of the kind of wines that I'm hoping that the Vaniacs out there are trying and exploring. A very good wine to roll the dice, 13 bones on, you know, something that's got a great press from the mainstream press, and just very neat. Plus, Mott, how in the world, zoom it in, Mott, we're talking about babies today. I mean, come on, how in the world can you not like the Cuddly Rabbit, Mott? It is a cuddly rabbit. I mean, that is brilliant. You know you're going to get some sales just from rabbit fans. Let's give this a sniffy sniff, because that's what I do on the Thunder Show. Wild. Right off the bat. This is neat. Right off the... See? This smells like... Is that gingerbread? This smells like a gingerbread man. This smells exactly like a gingerbread man. Right?
Yep.
Right? Isn't that wild?
Yes.
I mean, this wine legitimately has loads of ginger bouncing on the nose. Isn't that neat? Mm-hmm. I mean, like, flat out, like, the majority of you, I think, will be like, yes, oh my god, this is a gingerbread man. Holy crap, like, really nails it. Okay, so it's got a heavy dose of gingerbread man coming through on the nose. I also do get a little bit of, like, a sour cherry juice component on the tippy-tip back end, so it's like ginger, sour cherry, ginger, sour cherry. You know, it's like quick and phased, but at the end there. Fascinating. I don't think I've ever used the term gingerbread man for a nose or tasting note. And this is right off the bat what gets me excited about the wine world. You're always finding new things. Let's give this a whirl. Has a very focused flavor, very earthy on the mid palate. Kind of like the. Hold on. Wanted to confirm that flavor. I get very obvious and serious cassis juice on the flavor. More like cassis juice that I've had than actual cassis. There's a cranberry component that is undeniable. It's got a very interesting dryness and a puckering style on your back palate, which I like quite a bit. It's also got almost like a roasted almond component on the back end, which I think is quite fascinating. Almost like roasted nuts in your mouth. And I'm telling you, combine that with the cranberries and the cassis and a little bit of like that rubber band action, big red rubber band action in the mouth. See, it always comes down to experimenting as a kid. Did you put things in your mouth or didn't you? I put a lot of things in my mouth. Rubber bands being one of them. I get a rubber band component. I get a little bit of like a graphite pencil shavings aspect on the back end. Heavy in the cranberry and the cassis. That whole gingerbread phenomenon on the nose, which is still there, but the cherry juice is starting to come up a little bit, is there. Very intriguing wine. I don't know if I'm as blown away as the wine spectator, mainly because I think there's a lot of characteristics about this wine, but they don't all combine or play well with each other as much as maybe I'd hoped. I think it's a very intriguing bottle of wine. I'm going to score this wine 88 points. Solid, very much worth your while. For 13 bones, just to experience Toral de Go, I think is imperative for anybody looking to expand their palate. But at the same token, you know what, I want to talk about these plums that I'm starting to taste. Hold on one second. Yep, a little bit of a plum component that I think I missed early on. As I was yapping, I was starting to taste on the back end. Nice long finish, very dry, very complex. Has a lot of cool things going for it, but a little disjointed, maybe a tad young. 06 month? 06. 12 to 24 months sitting in the cellar might open up and might combine a little bit. Interesting wine, very fascinating, very different. That's what makes wine so interesting to me. I'm going to stick with my 88 points, but I'm also going to preface, because this is probably an episode a lot of people are going to watch through the years, mainly my family. So I don't want to be wrong when they're opening and drinking this in 5 years saying, this is pretty good. Dad, you're an idiot. Good stuff with good potential. Solid effort. A little bit lower than the Spectator in my opinion, but good wine. That's it. That's what we do on the Thunder Show. Big announcement. I guess I should ask the question of the day, and I guess the question of the day would be, this is for all you people out there with kids. I fully expect anybody without kids to say congratulations, because that would break my heart if you didn't. But with kids, what is the one piece of advice that you give Gary Vaynerchuk of Wine Library TV as he endeavors into this spectacular part of his life? You, with a little bit of me, we are changing the wine world.